Welcome to What's Math. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. This video will focus on factoring quadratics when they ask you to factor completely. Factor completely 8x squared plus 56x plus 96. Whenever they use the phrase completely, normally means that there are more than one factoring involved. And most of the time it's going to be that you can take out a greatest common factor. So I'm going to analyze the 8, the 56, and the 96 and see if there's some number that they have in common, but we want to find the biggest number that they actually have in common because it's the greatest common factor. And 8 can go into 56 and 8 can also go into 96. So therefore it's going to be 8x times x plus 8 times 7 times x plus 8 times 12. That will give me the opportunity to remove the greatest common factor, which is the 8 that they have in common. Remember, your greatest common factor goes on the outside and everything else goes on the parentheses. So x times x is x squared followed by a plus, and 7 times x is 7x plus 12. Once we have the greatest common factor removed from the expression and put on the outside of parentheses, we can go ahead and factor what's on the inside of the parentheses. Remember, we read from right to left. So we want to know what two numbers multiply to give you 12, but when you add them, you get 7. And those two numbers are 4 and 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. And then we're going to place them in their parentheses. So it's going to be 8 open parentheses x plus 4 times x plus 3. And I know that both of them are positive because the 7 was positive. And remember, if C is positive, then both sign has to be the same, and it's the sign of B. And you can double check. 4 plus 3 is 7. 4 times 3 is 12. So we did it correctly. And please don't forget about the greatest common factor on the outside, which is 8. It remains. Also, 8 times x plus 3 times x plus 4 is also correct. The order of the parentheses is not important. Factor completely. 5x squared plus 25x minus 120. Remember, factoring completely means normally that you have to do additional factoring. So I'm going to analyze those three numbers, and I notice that they all have a 5 in common. So I'm going to break it down using the 5. So it's going to be 5 times x plus 5 times 5 times x minus 5 times 24. That allow me to remove the 5, which is the greatest common factor. I'm going to place it on the outside, and the remainder goes inside. So it'll be x times x is x squared, followed by a plus sign. 5 times x is 5x, followed by a minus sign, and then you have the 24. We're going to factor what's on the inside of parentheses, and we're going to read backwards. So what do we want to know? Two numbers that multiply to give me 24, but if I subtract them, I get 5. And those two numbers are 8 and 3. 8 times 3 is 24, and 8 minus 3 is 5. Since it was a negative 24, that means both signs are different. And how do we know which one gets which sign? Is by looking at the B. In that situation, it's positive 5. So 8 being the biggest of the two factors must be positive, and automatically the 3 would be negative. So it'll be 5x plus 8 times x minus 3. And let's double check. 8 minus 3 is 5, and 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So therefore, I did that part correct. Remember, it doesn't matter which parentheses come first, so it could also be 5 times x minus 3 times x plus 8. Let's check for understanding. Factor completely 3x squared plus 27x plus 60. Solution. Factor completely 3x squared plus 27x plus 60. We want to see what is the biggest number that is common in all three numbers there. And 3 can go into 27. You can also go inside of 60 as well perfectly. So therefore, it'll be 3 times x plus 3 times 9 times x plus 3 times 20. That allow me to remove the greatest common factor, which is a 3. And everything else goes inside of parentheses. X times x is x squared. 9 plus, then 9 times x is 9x. Then there's a plus sign, and then there's 20. So we want to know what two numbers multiply to give you 20, but when you add them, you get 9, and it's going to be 5 and 4. 5 times 4 is 20, and 5 plus 4 is 9. Since it was a positive 20, both signs has to be exactly the same, and they would take the sign of B. And the sign of B in the parentheses will be a positive because it's plus 9. So therefore, it's going to be 3 times x plus 5 and x plus 4. See, 5 plus 4 is 9, and 5 times 4 is 20. So therefore, that's the correct answer. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click that little bell for further notification. Like and share my videos. And if you like what you saw in this video, please feel free to buy me a cup of coffee. Thank you in advance, and it's not mandatory.